Hello, welcome back to Brotaku Retrospective, where we talk about our favorite anime of the week. I'm Clinton Tospun,
I'm Eddie Friels.
and this week we are still riding on that mech train, and we are watching kind of like a hybrid of mech anime meets gag.
Yeah, it's like the scary movie of mech animes.
Yeah. Space Battleship Tiramisu, I'm sorry. It's got the wackiest title.
Yeah, you can't forget it because it always makes you hungry. It's just the dessert mech to me.
Right. And little disclaimer here, these episodes are 7 minutes from beginning credits to end credits. So it's probably the easiest watch of your life.
Yeah. Every episode's going to make you laugh. It's going to play on all of the old mech space anime tropes.
Right.
You get the moody main character, you get the interesting robot concepts, you get space politics, but all at the most ridiculous level.
Yeah, absolutely. So our setting is clearly we're in space, war between Earth and, space people, like traditional mobile suit, like kind of plot here. Got a really diverse cast of characters too.
I was gonna say we've got like 6 main characters we keep eyes on, and every single one of them is their own brand of what the fuck.
Yeah, right. Our main focus, Subaru Ichinose, is young adult, around 19. Very gangly looking, like he's thinner looking than majority of the pilots on this battleship. Dark hair, blue eyes, and
He's apparently jacked because there are so many scenes of him topless.
Oh, yeah.
And man is cut. But yeah, compared to like all the rest of the dudes that it shows, he's like the runt of the litter.
Yeah, very much so, for sure. And I mean, speaking of his lieutenant, Volger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, stereotypical blonde white guy, like, it's just huge, like.
And I mean, his name is Vulgar. The personality is exact.
Speaks
What
for
you see is
itself.
what you get.
Yeah, it really does speak for itself. It really does. And then you have his brother, Isuzu / Cody.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Suzu Cody is playing on the like masked villain trope, your Char Aznable, if you will. After we get through his reveal, most of his scenes, he's got like one eye covered and is all moody. He flies the red mecha.
Everything's just like blatant ripoff.
I'm not saying it's Char, but I'm also saying I haven't seen them both in the same room.
Right, exactly. And then we got our female mech pilot,
Leroy. In which I can't help but remember the freaking WoW
That's how
classic.
I remembered it. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, what's her name? Leroy.
Right? Especially you get later on, there's one episode where she goes running out into the fight and the narrator's like, and Leroy stormed in. I'm like, you had to have known what you were doing. There's no way.
It's just like I have the opportunity and I'm seizing it on this narration.
Oh my gosh, which we're going to have to talk about the narrator in a minute. He's
But
his own character.
He really is. I mean, even though he's not an animated character, his personality just gradually bleeds through with each episode. But yeah, Leroy, bodacious, space pilot babe, who's also the daughter of our captain, which is
Yep.
a standard old man.
Yeah, long white beard, grouchy boat captain dude. Like, he is his stereotypical role, and all the ways he craps on Subaru are fantastic because they're so quick and so subtle. You're like, wait a minute, what?
Right. And apparently our guy Subaru has been up to other shenanigans behind the scenes too, for sure. And then we got our
the ship mom. Her name is Shigeko, and she looks like a tiny, squat,
pretty thick.
Yeah, she looks like she'd work out on a farm, like old Japanese lady. Is what she looks like. But
sure.
on the dub, she sounds like Midwest mommy who smokes 3 packs a day.
For sure. Yeah, that voice acting is like, whoa. But I think that's pretty much everybody on our character list.
Yeah, I was going to say, there are minor things that come up here and there, but like like Clint said, the episodes are 7 minutes, so everything's just a flash in the pan.
Right. And speaking of episodes, let's get into this.
Yeah, so we're prone to talk long, so let's not overchew this one.
So, punching it in episode 1, Fly in Space, Naked Dance. So we get our introduction to Subaru Ichinose, who's their ace pilot on the Tiramisu. Main character has a gift for this, but he's also the weirdest guy probably on that ship. Guy loves his cockpit. Will not leave it. I mean, 9 times out of 10, he's in there. That's where they know he is at the time.
His only safe space is in the cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, always there, super OCD about it, like super clean, everything's in its right place, like
very meticulous guy. I mean, it's even clean with a toothpick, for Christ's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
very neurotic.
Yeah,
That's
neurotic. But yeah. So since this is his safe haven, and everybody else in the Tiramisu is like, this guy's a little weird. And this further adds to it. The premise of this episode, he kind of sneaks on to lunch on board right before a sortie happens. So literally minutes before launch, right? He's like, all right, I'm going to enjoy my food in peace. Because apparently he has a proneness to double dip his treats into the special sauce in the cafeteria, and he get called out on it, and he got so embarrassed by this.
I'm never eating in here again. Nobody can judge me for double dipping in the privacy of my cockpit.
Dude literally brings his box lunch with him and like a bottle of looks like a discarded water bottle full of the special sauce from the cafeteria on
it's just
his
like
cockpit,
floating like a bead in the bottle. Like the level to which they animate the zero gravity for joke purposes was fantastic.
Spot
10
on.
out of 10.
Spot on. I feel like NASA pilots would be like, yeah, that's more than likely what will happen if we do this. But yeah, so he's about to open he opens his lunch and is about to enjoy it. He literally gets his sauce ready. He's ready to go. Right as he gets his treat, right up to the bottle of soy sauce, the fried layering of his stick like peels back, and some of the stuff comes out. He freaks out. And literally, it just escalates further from there. His food, like his tray and everything, just go everywhere because literally he's trying to figure out how to get his soy sauce, then gets launched while this is going on. So literally everything in zero gravity is like, just flies everywhere in his cockpit and everything. And he's launched into space with food everywhere. And like this look of like, why did I even do this on his face?
Yeah, ruined his snack. Still came out of the sortie fine. No big deal. Like, it's just another day.
But due to the mess he made in his cockpit, he can't, like, live in it. So he starts trying to clean everything, like, in his neurotic way, like he usually does. Down to the last thing. And then he noticed that he got some on his suit in the time. So he literally strips inside of his own cockpit to clean everything, and I'm a little foggy on what happens a little bit at that point.
I think it's just like neuroses on display.
Oh yeah.
Like you're just getting a true feel for how wild this dude is.
Right. I think he goes back to the ship and he's like that. And then that more or less brings us into the second episode. I think, like I said, 7-minute episodes.
Wham bam.
Wham bam, thank you, man.
Next one is My Cute Puppy, Do Not Disturb. So apparently everything happens in space the same way it does on the planet. Subaru brings home a pet chihuahua. And he's like, Captain, let me keep it, please. And Captain's like, you fool, that's a space chihuahua. As soon as they meet oxygen, they rapidly grow in size. He's like, but I want to keep him. No. So he has to go take him back outside. And by the point he gets in the cockpit, the dang space chihuahua is like already filled up to the full size of it.
A bear.
And so to, basically set the premise for how ridiculous space shenanigans are, he goes and takes it back to where he found it. And we end it with space chihuahua in a giant cardboard box for oranges, apparently, and we take off in the mech.
Yeah, and like there's just a random cardboard box floating around in space that everybody's like, let me drop off my animal.
Right. Yeah, that's just a common thing. You go through the vast wilderness and, oh, hey, free puppies. Yeah, that's episode 2.
More or less, yeah, like it literally, that's like the best part about it. My favorite part about that, like, one is like literally as he's like carrying the dog, it's like getting bigger in each like snap frame. Like
every time
like
the camera changes, it's like whoop, whoop, whoop.
It is rapidly growing, dude. It is so, it gets monstrous by the time he leaves it. It is peak. Rolling into episode 3, Blueness, the last volume. We get introduced to our key character, Leroy, and literally ship full of dudes. What do you think's gonna happen? Literally, they're just all like,
yeah, she got all the goods out on display.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like Captain's daughter.
Yep.
On top of that, so it's kind of like that
super off limits.
That taboo, like forbidden fruit. I want to taste. But
yeah, Vulgar's really going for it in this one.
But Captain pulls Captain move here when they get introduced. Subaru and Leroy. Captain's like, you're gonna switch mech suits for the next story. Instantly, Subaru's like, no, that is mine. And Captain's like, I'm the captain. Do what I say.
Yeah, you're gonna fly her ship, which that was the highlight of the episode to me. Captain's daughter's mech is like pink. Super girled out, pink, pigtails, tatas, curves, the full shebang. You know that's a woman pilot, obviously.
He has to go into battle.
And he is just having a crisis of faith. Look, everybody's going to think I'm so girly. This guy is mad at me because he can see that it's a... And he just goes on a fucking tirade about it.
Until he takes a whiff and he's like, oh, it smells so nice in here. And he like falls in love with it after that. He's like, okay, this ain't so bad. At least it's clean.
Yeah, we find out he spent his whole adolescence basically in the robot cockpit. And so he's like, doesn't know how to interact with girls. And then he carried that onto the mech and he's like, I don't know when I'm ever going to get a chance again. And he goes to do the
Leroy's like, no, don't do that.
Because that's where the missiles are stored, you ding-dong. He's built like freaking heavy arms.
And just like any dude would, took the squeeze.
Took the squeeze and boom.
And that brings us into the next part. So,
they get him a new mech. He has a new Durandal.
Yeah, so he gets in the new Durandal. Well, he's excited, of course, because he's like, oh, it looks pretty sweet. And it feels sweet, even on top of that. And, you know, they tell him, like, yeah, they issued you a new mech, you know, you can take it out for a test bin, and he does so. I think it was Vulgar and the mechanic lady was telling him, like, don't forget to read that manual. Mm-hmm. And he's like, fine, I'll read the manual. And it's not even the first installment, apparently. Like, this thing has multiple, like, manuals of some sort, and he's got volume 2. Out of how many serializations, I don't know, but... didn't even start with the basics, so everything's in its advanced stages by the time he's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And just goes for it and just gets like flung every which direction and just ends up stranded. Mm-hmm. And then all the other pilots have to save him. And they all got the same issued like Durandal. And then Subaru's like defeated. He's just like, I don't want it anymore.
I thought I had a unique model. This is a stock model. And this is the point where we went from having the main character robot to the rank and file Zaku.
Yeah, instantly. I mean, I'd feel the same way about it too, because I'd be like, I went from unique pilot and unique mech suit to like serialized mech suit.
And it's all in his head, because if you pay attention to the earlier mech fights, it's just all Durandals on that side.
It really is. He just sees his as like the only one. Like, so we got the mob like point of view kind of complex where he sees all the other girls like as potato vegetables. He sees all the other mechs as like, Zaku.
Right.
That gets us into the next episode, to episode 4.
So, episode 4 is Stand in the Universe. I'm Not Alone. And this plays... Sorry, I'm having mic difficulties. My microphone jumped ship.
Today.
Anyhow, this episode is playing on the sci-fi trope of those who live in space end up developing a special power, kind of like a sixth sense, if you will. Mm-hmm. And... Am I getting this the right way? I'm not getting this the right way. There we go.
You're fine.
Anyways, people in space get a sixth sense. They can feel stuff around them. And Gundams, it's called New Type.
Right.
What in the world happened to my microphone?
It's unscrewed.
Yeah, I guess I'm just going to have to be careful with it.
Yeah, he's holding it like he usually do.
I don't remember what happened. Anyway. So it's playing a joke on that. So the episode starts out... This part I don't care so much about. He decides to eat before his sortie again.
Oh yeah, he has a food binge and like literally buys all of his favorite snacks, and everybody's like telling him like, "Hey, don't eat too much before a sortie." And he proceeds to freaking just have his body weight in like snack foods and like liquids, and literally gets in a sortie and is launched, and then full bladder. Full bladder and everything, so he's kind of freaking out, and more or less like he has that realization. He's like, I need to go, and I need to go now, and he's looking everywhere in his cockpit for that thing that he can relieve himself in. So you know how it is, like you're on a long road trip, bathroom in not in miles, where's the plastic bottle type of deal. So he literally is like looking everywhere for a bottle. I want to say he finds one, more or less, but in that montage of all that happening, he comes in, he hears a voice.
Yes. And then this is, like I said, New Type trope. So finally got the mic fixed.
You're good.
So yeah, he's in the cockpit, and all of a sudden he hears a voice talking to him.
Yeah.
And it's a sexy voice.
Hola.
And he's looking around, and he's like, is that a pube?
Freaks out. He has that neurotic part of him. He's
Right. Where did this come from? My cockpit is supposed to be immaculate. But then the pube starts to talk to him.
Yeah.
And apparently with his New Type sense dialing into the universe, he's able to hear the spirits of everything and everyone and communicate and know blah, 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 New Type tropes.
Yes.
And apparently, Subaru, every time he dials into it, ends up talking with pubes.
Mm-hmm.
And he has better relationships with pubes than with any of the other people in the entire show. And this is not the first time, or this is not the last time. It is the first time.
The first time, yeah.
So we get a nice talk with the pube, and I am rolling the entire freaking time. He's got like the Rico Suave voice.
Yeah.
In the dub anyway.
The dub anime, they give him a Hispanic accent. They even roll it with a little bit of Spanish in there. I mean, basic Spanish, nothing too advanced. So don't trust and believe. You don't need subtitles for it. I feel, but yeah, definitely like the best like dubbing for just the random thing ever.
Yeah, it feels like they just gave so little F's with this one, which I super appreciate. The narrator kills the fourth wall like every other episode. He's like, I'm just here. Why am I doing this?
Right.
And
he's
especially,
just like, I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, especially the episodes where he dials into the universe. Since the narrator gets extra snarky, I'm like, Mr. Narrator, I am here for you.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's episode 4. Subaru talks to the pube.
Yeah, learns about his universe sense. Rolling us into episode 5, which is kind of... keep in mind, all these episodes are standalone. There's no real prolonged story here, ever. Like, it's just random.
Like, the things stack, but it's all... You don't need any single one to help you watch any other single one. It's a gag.
Right. You take each episode as it is. Literally, please. So episode 5, Drifting Without Side Dishes. Subaru is in a battle. Yeah, he was engaged in battle with Volgar and everything, and he was just going off the walls, and he literally chases an enemy unit way out in the rims of space, way far away from the rest of his crew. And Vulgar's like, hey, don't do that. Like, you'll, like, stray too far from the battle. Don't chase after the enemy unit. Subaru just doesn't hear him. Just proceeds to chase after that dude. Finishes him off. Is ready to go back. Tries to tap into comms. Can't get through to anybody. Not even Cody, his little dude that pops up on the side screen and kind of helps him throughout this whole
morale booster.
Yeah, his morale booster. He then the ship just cuts off. Like Durandal just stops working, functioning.
He's far out of power.
Yep. And he's floating in zero gravity out in the middle of space, super far away from crew. Luckily enough, Subaru bought snacks before this, right? Literally all he had left were rice, like preservatives.
Yeah, like boxes and boxes of like pre-made rice.
No, he had a microwave. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, it was the microwave instant.
He's using the reserve power for a microwave, guys. Like he just dire situation. Your power's low. I want to heat up my burrito. Oxygen levels are not important.
Yeah, the laws of the universe do not actually apply in Tiramisu.
No, not at all. Not even the concepts of space, really. I mean, zero gravity is kind of on point, but outside of that, no.
I was gonna say they might as well just be flying in the air with how they treat everything.
Right. So he only has rice. He kind of hates it that he's been eating. And I mean, like, days have gone by, I would assume, because he grows like a little bit of facial hair too.
It's like, I don't understand. A man can't live on just rice.
Yeah, so he's just getting super depressed. He's like, I need to figure something out. And then, like, I think something happens where he just accidentally knocks over his rice, lunch. And it falls on to him, and he's just like...
No, he ran out of options, and so he put it on the handle of
the ship. Yeah, that's right. He's like, just to, kind of spice things up a little bit. Tried it off his handle, and lo and behold, the sweat.
Oh, my salt.
The salt in his sweat provided some flavor to the rice that he's been eating for days straining out in space, and literally just starts escalating from there. Like, proceeds to eat rice off of the surface of everything in that cockpit, even himself.
Yeah, and that's probably the best bit of the episode is trying to figure out what area of the body is the saltiest.
The best part of the episodes for me is when Leroy and Vulgar show up, and they're like, "Oh, we got to pull him out of his Durandal, like by
Wait, I'm not ready. I'm not."
Literally, like, open the cockpit, and this dude's like butt naked.
Remember, the laws of the universe don't exist.
Yeah, there's no vacuum pull or anything. They just open it.
I'm sorry, you need more than just the helmet.
No, for real, the suit's part of the ensemble, for sure. But yeah, that wraps up our 5th episode.
Episode 6 is Holy Night Scramble, A Dim Memory. Subaru loves Christmas. His favorite thing in the world is Christmas lights. And so for this episode's sortie, he decorates his mech, the Durandal, and Christmas lights. Even puts some Saint Nick all over the shield and goes out into the fight and fights with Christmas lights and gets court-martialed for putting a show on after the fact. And the whole time it's just like, I think this is most of the animation budget with all the flashy lights. Ooh, pretty eye candy. I don't know. It's like a humanizing episode. I like the visual gag. That was the best part, in my opinion.
I did like that he decked out his cockpit as well.
Oh, yeah. It's festive inside and out. I forgot about that. He's got like a mistletoe and a wreath and like a little tree.
Dude loves Christmas. It's so funny. And that kind of takes us into kind of like some surprise stuff that's going on in the background, apparently. So in our 7th episode, Lost Memory Tragedy in the Liquid Room, Subaru ends up finding out that Cody is actually his long lost brother, I assume, because he hasn't seen him in years, doesn't even know what happened to him. Isuzu.
Yeah, all the memories that we get of Subaru and his brother are always like when they're little kids. Mm-hmm. And when they're little kids, his brother is brown hair, and when he gets older, he has blonde hair.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. But yeah, so his brother...
Is it because he's a delinquent?
That's what I'm thinking. He dyed his hair.
I'm betting that's it. Okay, continue. Sorry.
So Isuzu is more or less trying to convince Subaru, like, hey, I know what you go through on this ship. And he does. I mean, he's been Cody the whole time. He's like, I know what you go through, and it's so much better on my ship.
Come with me. Things will be great.
And Subaru's like, yeah, say less. I'm tired of these people. And Suzu's like, I didn't kill the crew. I just knocked them out. So, I remember like Isuzu is just as much as of a ditz, if not more so than Subaru is, because he like thought he lost his keys to his mech. He's like, oh, this is so embarrassing.
You can definitely tell they're brothers because they're both their own kind of neurotic. It's like,
right,
yeah, because like Clint said, he goes on a tirade because he can't find his key fob, and then Subaru takes his little man bag. He's like, this key fob.
Right. He's like, oh, we found it. Now we can go. And then, like, when they go, he forgets his eye thing. And he's like, oh, those are super expensive, believe it or not.
That's like the fourth one of those I've lost now.
Biggest dits in space, I feel, yes. And
I appreciate so much they took the time to call out all the things involved with the masked villain trope. I'm like, fashion, expensive fashion. Yes.
Yeah, he's like, these things aren't cheap, believe it or not. It's like, this is my fourth one. But that rolls us into the little next segment where Subaru gets shown around, his brother's base. And
yeah, apparently all his brother's crew have the universe sense, except for his brother. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, yeah, if you join, we're going to be the best crew. Get in this tank of goop because it'll just make you the brain of the mech, and you don't have to control anything, just whatever you think becomes reality.
Yeah, plays into that zero type trope again, yeah.
You and the Durandal will be
one. Yeah. And yeah, as soon as they start filling it up with liquid, he flips. He's just like, no, it doesn't feel right. I need to test it. I need to dip my head into a bowl of this first. And they're just like, stop freaking out. Like, it's not that bad. And then one of the, like, gross looking dudes, it's like, yeah, it ain't that bad. Let me show you. And he gets in there and, like, literally every, like, thing on his body is, like, floating.
Yeah, that's some gross bathwater. And, yeah, so he's like, Subaru, get in that. He's like, can we drain it? No, that's so wasteful. Like, no, hell no. I'm not getting in that.
Subaru's gradually like, I can't be around anybody, dude. Like, these people are just as disgusting.
And the whole time he's like watching his brother in the background. He's like, this is how he acts around his friends. Like,
right.
It's very,
It's kind of like the pot calling the kettle black because they're both weirdos.
Yeah, and it's definitely the brother's borderline sus with all the dudes he's hanging around with. Like, whoo, their conversation was pretty steamy trying to get full bro in the tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of innuendos in that episode. Well, that's more or less my highlights of that episode. We're going to roll into the next one on episode 8.
Small scratch. Hello, Mr. Robot. So we wrap out our time in Captain Susie's ship.
Susie. I forgot his nickname. That killed me. It's just like, your name's Susie? I'm totally intimidated, man.
Right. Dread Captain Susie.
I'm shaking, man.
And so they're going through the ship, dragging Susie's mech on display for all of the local ship people to see because that's morale boosting.
On a flatbed, too.
Yeah, it's laid out on a dang flatbed.
He's not flying it. He's literally got on a flatbed truck just rolling around the town.
And
okay.
Subaru does not know how to make slow wide turns, so
on the left, yeah.
Yeah, he crashed into a wall and scratches the heck out of the mech, which I don't know if the A part or the B part of this particular episode's better. They're both great because Captain Susie goes on a...
He freaks out.
Yeah, he freaks out. Apparently, they're so underfunded, he has insurance on all of his stuff. So he is just going on and on and on about how his premiums just went up and everything. And it's just like a long insurance gag about robots. And you're like, you got a point. Like, who replaces the 9,000 robots that
Exactly.
end
I'm
every
like,
time we...
whose pocket money is that? For
Right,
real.
especially like you go to like Gundam Wing era and stuff, and it's like just hollow mechs versus hollow mechs kind of thing. You're like, so when we do our little skirmish and we send 1,000 Zaku's and they send 1,000 ground units and 0 remain, who footed the billions for that ridiculous exchange?
Right. Money is of no value to me anymore.
And Isuzu is just all about the money all the time. He's like, you can't do this. This isn't right. Like, he is like a perfect mirror for Subaru. Like, they are like
Alike. More than
different
anything.
finishes of the same car.
Literally. Oh, and I love how Subaru like tries to like buff out the scratch with his spit, and then Suzu's like, "What if I did that to you?" Like, he gets so bad.
Yeah, both the brothers are crazy about their mechs.
Yes.
And then the B part of the episode,
Subaru.
Subaru is like, I can't deal with this. Y'all are
runs away.
wild. He runs back to the tiramisu. And when he gets there, there's a robot in his room. And the crew welcomes him back in his room, and the robot's all happy, peppy, cheery, and everybody loves the robot. Well, as soon as everybody walks out of Subaru's room, it's just him and the robot. It pulls out the
cig?
robot equivalent of a cig and just starts smoking. It's like, man, they just eat that crap up when I'm like, oh, I just suck up to them all day, but behind the scenes, blah, blah, blah. And she's 10 out of 10 evil robot. And that's how we end the episode with Subaru being like,
Yeah, imagine like a Haru from Mobile Suit Gundam just having like an evil streak. That'd be hilarious.
yeah, exactly. And it's even got like that
The
kind of
Haru
generic
kinda head.
face. Yeah.
Rolling into episode 9, Return of the Ace Pilot, a friend of mine. So we were continuing off of the robot thing, and literally Subaru has that exchange with the robot and whatever, and the robot's like, you better not tell anybody about this. Blah. Proceeds to frame our guy Subaru, more or less. Like robot wakes up, freaks out, or well, runs through the hall saying, I just woke up. My wallet along with my arm are gone, and I always sleep with it, in my hands and everything. Who could have done such a thing? And then mechanic mom comes around the corner like, hey, I bet you're looking for this. And the robot's like, oh my gosh, thank you.
I found it in Isuzu's cockpit pit.
Yeah. And so apparently this freaking robot went out of her way to just go and plant her own arm with a wallet in hand. It looks sus from the get-go to me. I'm just like, why is it in that position? But anyways, found in the cockpit, everybody's like, Subaru, you vile scoundrel.
Yeah,
treat him like crap.
They never give him the benefit of the doubt. He's just always in the wrong.
Yeah, he's a weird dude. It's believable. It checks out.
Right.
That's so bad.
He would.
But yeah, so
Pee
Subaru's
pants.
like, no way. I wouldn't do that. I was nowhere near this freaking robot, whatever. And then like they get into it and the robot turns around to I forget, it was talking to either Volger or Leroy or both, who knows. And that's when Subaru notices there's a switch on the back or whatever. Oh no, like Subaru gets in an altercation with her, and that's how it happens. He's like, oh, there's a switch on the back. And it's lo and behold, it's all like it ranges from good to okay to evil. And lo and behold, it was all the way to evil.
and rusted in position.
Yeah, because Subaru's like trying to move it, and he's like, "Oh no!" And he bites down on it. He's like, "Urgh."
Honestly, as odd as it is, my favorite part of the episode was where he's biting down. He's like, "Come on!"
Right? He's like, "I'm not putting up with this crap anymore." Tried so hard.
It's just such a weird scene to animate too. You're like, just dude, like,
right, and then like I think he pops it into like motorcycle out of nowhere.
Yeah, because on top of the slider, there's 3 buttons. He's like, motorcycle mode. That'll work. Boop.
Yeah, and so he's like, I gotta go. We gotta go. And he drives this robot while it's still smack talking him. And he puts the dots together. He's like, all right, they have to still have like the packaging with all like the manifest. I am returning this. And so he drives to his room, asks the robot, all right, where did they put it? And she's like, well, you're such a I forget what she called him.
She's like, you should really get rid of those game boxes before you end up on an episode of Hoarders.
Yeah, they translated like she's like, you're so frugal, you'll keep every freaking box of everything you buy. And so he's like, oh, so it's in here. Grabs it, and then like he looks over the box and then realizes it was an as-is model. So like, buy, no return. Like literally the manufacturer doesn't want it back, so he flips. He's like, oh my god. Like, why is this even a thing? They were so cheap, they bought the as-is robot model. So he's having a crisis, but then they cut over, and then like they're like, yeah, there was actually video footage of the robot playing her own arm in his cockpit, and like Subaru was then like exonerated of all allegations and all that. And like literally Shigeko is soldering the thing into good permanently, so it's a good robot from then on out. It rolls us into the next one, I guess, so we get a little bit of a new spin on this one in episode 10. Yeah, that's when he does the.
So we go back to Captain Susie's point of view for this one.
Yes.
And apparently during the time where Subaru was with him, he must have taken a DNA sample or something because he cloned Subaru. And he's like the exact inverse. He's super tan, super buff and jacked, white hair, and 3 times as crazy. But he is like in the perfect pilot to fly their black Durandal. And so we get that introduced in the A part. In the B part, there is Subaru having like some anger in regards to Captain Susie's crew. And he decides, today's the day. I'm going to end it. I'm going out there. And so he takes off in the Durandal. He's flying so fast that wee-woo. He gets pulled over by the cops for breaking speeding laws in outer space.
Right. And then during that, he's like attacked by an enemy unit of all things. And like in that scuffle, like the cop gets knocked out. And he puts on the banner that says Sheriff Fernandez. I laughed so hard. I was like, it's just too dumb. He's like, I'm the only qualified pilot right now. I'm like, of all people, no. And literally his weapon was like a whole detaining pole.
A people pusher.
And he was literally, he had to find a wall for like the next 40 minutes in space. Where's the wall?
Yeah, the narrator kind of went off on that one.
Yes.
So following that up, episode 11.
Oh, yeah.
Non-fiction and the reunion with Chibi.
So apparently Captain calls everybody to the meeting, lets everybody know like, hey, we're going to be filmed. They honestly chose you, Subaru. It gets called out. Everybody, you are the highlight. For some reason. He's like, he doesn't even elaborate on it. He's like, I don't know why they find you interesting, weirdo. Yeah, so apparently there's a film crew that comes and wants to kind of just footage of their ace pilot Subaru. And of course, Subaru, acting like Subaru does, he's just like, we don't got no time for this. You know, we need to just sortie and go to battle. You know, he's still riding that high from the last episode, like, I gotta get these guys.
But apparently he's a reality TV junkie.
Yeah, come to find out, the reality show True Professionals is one of his most watched reality TV shows. He's such a fan that he records every episode and knows them all. And even the film crew's like, oh, wow, a super fan, okay. Like, we know what we're working with here. But Subaru ends up getting the shakes, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's camera shy.
Yeah, super camera shy. Literally translate into his mech, and his mech can't even hold the photon cannon right. Like, it's all like this, like...
That was probably my favorite bit of the scene was the mech being all nervous, clumsy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard because there's a lot of good parts in this freaking episode.
Right.
There's so much in the 7 minutes.
But yeah, so eventually, like, they tell him, okay, calm down. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Just act yourself and everything. So Subaru's like, okay, I got you. Act on different. Our robot friend, which now becomes kind of like a co-pilot for Subaru.
Yeah, they install her head into the cockpit, so it further cements the horror of the dang robot. Mm-hmm. And so going forward, the evil now turned good robot is just a head at the cockpit looking directly at Subaru all the time.
Right. References. But anyways, she picks up something on his radar, moving really quick, and then it suddenly stops behind what I assume a big asteroid. And Subaru's like, oh crap, like, I got a film crew with me, we're about to engage in battle and everything, and I don't know how this is going to go down. And so he's having one of those moments, and he's like, if it's going to go down, I at least want first strike then. Mm-hmm. So Subaru tells the two film crew guys to, like, hey, I'm about to go into battle. I'm just going to give you guys a heads up and hang on to whatever's around you. And they're like, one of the guys is like, the camera gun is shaking? Subaru's like, probably. And then, so Subaru just beelines it around the asteroid, shoots the other one right behind it. Smoke just comes up, and then once the smoke clears, we get a view of our...
It's Chibi, the space chihuahua. And he is, like, 3 times bigger than the Durandal now.
I mean, he's kaiju size, like, literally, like, kaiju dog chihuahua thing.
Yeah, he went from, like, chihuahua to Tibetan Mastiff.
Yeah, he had, like, a bib of, like, and, like, the little, like, decorations of, like, a god of some sort. Mm-hmm. Like, they made him look like the space chihuahua dog god. Which was even funnier. So we have, like, a little mini reunion. Like, once our boy Subaru comes out of his cockpit and smells like the sweat from him sweating nervously with the film crew around him, the chihuahua's like, oh, it's my odor, and, like, proceeds to lick him, and, like, a little lick sends him right back into the cockpit because it's so ginormous.
The one time space has no gravity for
and
interactions.
Then we get some man's best friend bonding going on. He takes him for a walk in space.
Yeah, we play with the big space puppy. We come across another big space puppy.
Yeah, that's a thing.
And I'm just going to word it this way. The episode ends like an episode of National Geographic from Subaru's point of view. And then his episode doesn't even get aired because it's the new women's volleyball season.
Yeah, Subaru gets so defeated. He's like, man. But yeah, that's our 11th episode. Rolling into the 12th. Man's world. Say it's the man's world.
The Durandal is down.
Yep.
The engine's not working properly for whatever reason, so they force Subaru to use the old mech. Something that's been just in storage forever. We are lucky we even have this thing.
It looks like a maintenance. It, like, literally...
It looks like a loader mech.
Yeah, it really does. Like the maintenance mechs that you would see in all these other mobile suit shows. It
has drills for hands. This is a miner, not a combat unit.
That plays into a funny part of this episode too. But
the glass overhead dome is helicopter glass.
Oh yeah. I love how, like, Shigeko is like, oh, don't worry, it's helicopter glass. Like, lady, we're in space. I need space grade stuff. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing?
And the whole episode is just a misadventure with this thing. Like, the cockpit is nasty. And we know how our boy is about his cockpit being clean and pristine sanctuary.
Yeah, he opens the lid and it just reeks, like, instantly.
Stinky. The controllers are sticky. Like,
the radio's loud as soon as
the radio is, like, all the way up playing Yacht Rock. Which that was awesome. The best punchline of the episode to me was, who plays Yacht Rock during a sortie? I about fell to pieces at that one.
I have mad respect for anybody that listens to Yacht Rock before a mech battle and proceeds to go into the mech battle listening to Yacht Rock. Honestly, I fear that man. You should fear him too.
So as we go into further mech animes, we're going to point out the character each time that is the character that's the Yacht Rock guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Because I've had several faces that just popped into my head that I can't think of the names, but I'm like, I just hit a list of 5 Yacht Rock mech sorties. So yeah, we're gonna have to do that as we
Yeah.
stay in Mechland.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's just raunchy, and then he can't grab the giant gun because the giant gun is like 3 times as big as his unit, and he
Right.
like stabs into it, and then his visor has like old crusty lunch on the top
Oh,
that
yeah.
smelled like rotten fish or something, and he ends up, he can't cut it.
He can't cut it. Literally, Leroy has to save the day.
Yep, and that's the end. I think the narrator gets pretty nasty at the end of that one.
Yeah, he's like, "God, honestly, that's pretty gross." Rolling into episode 13, atmospheric re-entry
The
to Earth.
season finale.
It is base season finale here on episode 13. So we literally get into the battle of battles here between Isuzu and Subaru.
And Subaru B.
Subaru B. Yeah, I forgot he's in there too.
Yep.
So they're fighting and fighting. Also, Leroy and Vulgar are like out on the outlines too. So it's like team on team. This is going big battles happening now.
And which it was all things considered, is a pretty solid mech fight to watch all the little bits. I mean, it definitely felt like, especially the bits with Vulgar and Leroy, like it felt like the early 90s, like really quick, everything move and boom and
Explosion.
move and boom,
Boom.
and move and boom.
Boom. Yeah. Yeah. Like a mech passes through this area. Boom, 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 boom.
Circle, 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 circle.
Literally. And prior to this, Leroy had a heart-to-heart with Subaru, like saying, hey, we need you like more than ever in this mission, so please keep your head in the game. Gives him a new helmet since Shigeko like rode on his. And so he's like, oh, yes, you're the best. And so he's riding that high, like, oh man. So Leroy's even counting on me, man. Like he gets a little crushed, obviously, because I mean it's a gorgeous woman. So he's like, say less, queen. I will do so. So proceeds into battle. Before he's like donning his new helmet, he needs to put a new protective film.
Yeah, it's like, I can't have any bubbles in it. Gotta be real meticulous.
His robots even got like, oh my god. Literally, Subaru.
You're doing
like,
that right now.
in a battle, and then like literally enemy mech's on its way. She's like, Subaru, please, for like just ignore that. He's like, I gotta get it right. Gets knocked, puts the film, like the film goes on the helmet, and then he like looks down and there's like 3 air bubbles on the film, and he flips. He's just like, nah.
And at this time, we get
It's Isuzu.
we get Susie's side of it.
He has him in a lock.
Yeah,
right?
he's got him like under the arms like this, and Subaru B is going. He's like, "I'll hold him, you finish him."
Slash him.
And
He looks at down and he's like,
his suit jacket's got a
"You
rip in
gotta
the
be
sleeve.
kidding me!"
He's like, hold on. Can we take a break? I need to fix something. Like, so both the brothers go into chaos mode. Subaru's trying to get the bubbles out of his.
They're outside the atmosphere in Earth, mind you. So the G force, force of gravity is gradually pulling them in, and you know, Susie's still got them locked in the Nelson hold, and they're just hurtling towards Earth.
Yeah, because on Susie's side, he has a whole freaking sewing kit, and so we bounce back and forth between perspectives of is Susie like trying to get the bubbles out, Subaru's trying to get the bubbles out. Susie's trying to like get the needle to thread. And then Vulgar and Leroy are like, you gotta come back, and then all comms cut.
Yeah, of course, because they're all in their own world. It wasn't until after comms get cut, Subaru was like, when did we enter the atmosphere? I'm like, the flashing lights and things saying, you're entering the atmosphere wasn't prevalent at all.
Yeah, no, he had that hyper focus going hard.
Yeah, very neurotic, like we said. And so Susie noticed this and is like, yo, Subaru, you're not going to make it. I can turn into the Chimera mode in my mech and be able to, at least redirect this and get us out of here. You need to just eject yourself from your cockpit. Subaru doesn't hear him at all.
No, because when he put his dang helmet on, one of the bubbles has a space mite in it.
Yep. He flips out, and Susie just assumes, oh, he passed out. Well, Tragedies of war.
Yep.
You know? And so he goes his own separate way. Let's go the Durandal. Durandal's still hurtling towards the earth. And Subaru is like, oh man, like, what do I do? What do I do?
It's so
Literally,
hot.
the dude is like, let me confer with the people on the internet of what I should do in a mech that's hurtling towards earth. Literally, if you were to type that question on like any kind of like Reddit or something, people are gonna be like, what are you doing? Like, what do you mean?
It's like, I didn't even put a smiley face. This isn't funny. Why'd they say lol?
I personally, I watched it in the native with subtitles, and literally, even the subtitles like give you like the little tidbits of like the comments. Gold. They're gold. Just freeze it and just read. The comments are gold. Like, you're so funny. So yeah, so that's no help. His robot's like freaking out, like, yo, it's getting so hot, and then she's like, and like the whole system starts powering down because of the heat. 2,000 plus degrees happening on the outside of that thing. And Subaru's is like, oh man, I gotta do something about this. And then proceeds to grab like the lever to like try to hoist it up as
Yeah, the
much as he
like
can.
the ejection lever.
Yeah. So he's like, I need to eject it. I'm sorry, Durandal. And literally can't eject it. And then like it goes down the lever to show that the child locks on. And then it just pans to him like waking up, and he's like, I'm alive. And he walks out of his mech and he's like, I'm alive because of you. And then like it does like the coolest shot of his Durandal mech.
I was gonna
like,
say
ever.
that scene was actually like really good. You could take a still of that for your computer background.
Okay,
like
so
they put all the
literally
effort into
does
it.
like the whole like mechs holding the pilot on the hand thing as the sun setting thing, and like how we get Mobile Suit Gundam.
Yeah, on the water, like it just everything.
Perfect. Like I was just like, that's awesome. That's the best ending to this ever.
And then Subaru throws a fit and we wrap.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the least ha-has of it. I don't know. It was still pretty good. The brothers being in their own like
World as they're
clothing
hurtling
fits.
towards death.
So before we approach the couple bonus episodes at the end, I skipped over my actual favorite part of this entire
I'm sorry,
series.
the friend of mine.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Well, when we hit that point, I blanked on it. I couldn't remember. So anyway, going backwards into episode 9, after the evil robot head gets installed into the cockpit, we're out in space and we have another universe.
Sense moment.
And apparently, Senor Pube has found himself a wife. And if Senor Pube's voice wasn't kill me enough.
She has the accent too, dude.
Oh, her accent was so thick. I don't think it
wife.
Yeah, it was. Oh my god.
Some kind of Hispanic like dialect in her voice for sure. Like pair, like they're a perfect match.
Yeah, and Subaru is like, well, if you both came from me, doesn't that make you related? And
no.
Yeah,
He starts explaining, and then like it pans out to the robot, like what observing.
and the robot's like, Subaru is 89.9% happier interacting with the follicle than interacting with me. I'm going to download all his favorite shows, and then we can watch them together.
And then proceeds to just like download all these things, and then like goes to a torrent site, and we all know how those are. Ads galore. And Subaru has nothing but an ad on his main screen. He's just like, there's an enemy hurtling towards him. He's like, yo,
I need you to move that. I'm sorry, I can't. But yeah, all the episodes with the universe since Pube characters, that is gold.
Honestly, I love it too, just because it makes fun of the 0 cents trope, because I feel like 0 cents is just kind of a BS concept in the first place. Like, oh, we got 6 cents because we lived in space for years. No, I think like your body adapted and you have like some other thing that works a different way. But I can go all day about the 0 cents thing, but yeah, I love that spin on it. I was like, yeah, if they're going to have 0 cents, they get to hear everything.
Right.
So yeah, getting into our next little installments, they give us a few extra episodes at the end of the actual base season that were just kind of like backstory and just extra funny stuff. Honestly, they're worth it to watch it. Honestly,
I was gonna say, if you made it this far with us and you try it out, I think we'll just leave those ones for you. Like, they're bonus stuff kind of in the middle. We get a backstory, we get a beach day, that kind of thing.
Please watch at least the first one. Because
Yeah.
Susie is a big dork.
Yeah, EX1 is Susie's perspective of sneaking into the tiramisu.
Being
and
Cody,
yeah, it's a riot and a half.
It's so funny.
And it references back to like all the earlier episodes from like Subaru's perspective.
Yes,
Is
it's just
seeing
even
how
funnier.
it went from both sides of it. You're like, these two are just insane.
Literally, the like ace pilots, yeah, but they're idiots. Like, stop. Like, I would not want to sortie with these guys ever.
Yeah, if that's the new type, God save us all.
All right, we're doomed. We're doomed. Let's just stop fighting.
But yeah, I would say at the end of this, Space Battleship Tiramisu got me to laugh every single episode, which is I feel like is a hard pull for anyone. But
yeah, no, for real. Like, to do it consecutively throughout the whole season, yeah, that's really hard. So kudos to.
But they played on all the right tropes, so it was like,
dude, like pound for pound, like literally anything that they could pull from Mobile Suit Gundam, they're just like, yeah, we're gonna do our spin on that, and I loved it. I was there for it.
yeah, none of these characters are really gonna stick with you after it's over. This is just the funny anime with the funny name.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and
but that's okay.
I have another little fun fact. So if you watch it in native, you'll hear the voice actor's voice. Of like the native speaker that does it. He sings the intro and the outro.
Yeah.
It's the same dude that does the voice acting in the native is singing the freaking intro songs and the outro songs. So peak show right here.
All Subaru. So go watch it. It's out of everything we've watched so far, this is going to take the shortest amount of your life, and you'll be
literally
cracking a rib the whole time.
Right. I can honestly watch this one over and over again every once in a while, for sure. Like, it has a pretty good rewatch to it, I would say.
Yeah, it's always fun to find, like, a short one that you can just put in as, like, a fill. Like, you could get through 2 of these on a 15 at work. Like, come on.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Please watch them on your breaks, dude.
That's what I did.
Yep. So yeah, that wraps it up for this night, man. Like,
it is a 2-season, so we might come back for the next one. It's a blast, and I think there might be a couple other side content, but for now, we'll let good enough be. And we had a short anime. Hopefully, this is a short episode this week. And yeah. You got any final notes, Clint?
Nope. I like my mechs curvy, so.
Space Battleship Tiramisu. Watch it. Curvy mechs.
Yep.
This has been Brotaku Retrospective.
I'm Clint Tossman.
I'm Eddie Friels.